Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I am Randall and Rueff. My call sign is K9RMR. That's Kilo 9 Romeo Mike Romeo. Again, K9RMR. And I'm looking at the Yaesu FT991A radio. I'm $100 short of being able to buy it, but I found it for about $1,200. I've got $1,100 saved up. But if I buy the radio, if I somehow manage to get in $100 more dollars, I still have to buy coax, still have to buy a tower, an antenna, and then I have to have somebody to install it, to ground the radio, to ground the antenna. So it's just because you have enough money to buy the radio or come close to having the money to buy a radio doesn't mean you're ready to buy and install a radio. Plus, eventually, I'd like to have the $4,000 amplifier, which takes me up to 1,000 or 1,000 watts or a kilowatt or more of transmit power. The radio goes up to 100 watts on HF and 50 watts on UHF and VHF. So let's look at this little puppy here. I'm going to show you why this right now is the radio I'm looking for. HF, VHF, UHF, and radio. Now there are lots of other options. And there it is, right here. The Yaesu FT991A 100 watt HF, 1,544 and 3, almost, okay, so it's $1,209.95, free shipping. So $1,209, I've got $1,100 saved up. I sold my Jeep, got $1,100 sitting in the bank, drawing a very small amount of interest, but some nonetheless. So here's the deal. Here's the reasons I want this particular radio. It does HF, does VHF, and UHF, plus it has a waterfall display. So it does all three modes, plus it has a waterfall display. That's the only radio currently available that does that. Now there are waterfall displays on a bunch of radios. There's a bunch of waterfall display on radios that do VHF and UHF. There are a lot of waterfall displays on radios that do HF. Again, there's some that do VHF and UHF and have a waterfall display. But the only radio I've found that does VHF, UHF, and HF and has a waterfall display is the Yaesu FT991A radio. That's the only one that has all four things I'm looking for. Waterfall display, VHF, UHF, and HF. So I can communicate locally and around the world with a good antenna, if it's up high enough. So that's the one I'm looking for. And let's look at here. Okay, so it's not really that big, which is fine. That's no big deal. It has an antenna for your local or your 144 and 4, basically your 2 meters and 70 centimeters right here. And then your HF antenna for your long distance QSOs. It has an HF antenna. So you have two antennas. You have some external speakers. You can plug in your FireWire, GPS. If you're going to do some RIDI, which I probably won't, but it might be nice, fun to play with eventually. If I had it, I might do it. I don't know. So you can put an external tuner, get some fans, or some venting, a fan, and some vent holes to bleed off the heat. There's a picture with a microphone and an external speaker, which I might get to if I can afford it. Right now I can't. So that's what I'm looking at. But let's go back to, now there, like I said, now the 9100. Again, HF, VHF, UHF, but no waterfall display. This would probably be my second choice. It's got everything I want. except a waterfall display and a color display. But colors aren't really a big deal. But not having a waterfall display. And the reason the waterfall display is so important, or why I really want it, is because back before they had waterfall displays, you would have to hunt and peck and try to find where people are operating. Well, with a waterfall display, you can tune to a band and see the entire coverage of that entire band and see where people are transmitting and where they're not transmitting. And that's very, very helpful and very, very useful. Now, would this be a good radio to have? Yes. I mean, it does HF, VHF, and UHF. Got a lot of nice features. It looks nice. Let's see down here. Contacts. Is it, what is it, 15 is? It's hard to read that. Okay, so it's got more than one antenna connector. So basically, it's got several, in fact. So this would probably be my go to Amazon. See what it says. So it's supposed to be going for just by itself. Okay, let's go to so anywhere from almost $4,000 to easily over $2,000, easily. So again, can't afford that. Yaesu FT991A, 100 watts, HF, all modes. That's why. That's one of the reasons why. Now there are some. Let's see. Let's all mode. Let's see. Portable. Okay. Here we go. I think this is one of the Yaesu. It's not an icon with the Yaesu. I think this is all mode. Either way, it's meant for like putting in your car or truck and then having an external antenna. And it's still not. But I don't have one. I just because I sold my Jeep. I don't have anything to put in. But here's the amplifier I was talking about, the Quadra system. That's an amplifier. But I mean that's over $4,000, so I obviously can't afford that right now. So that's why I'm going for the Yaesu FT991A 100 watt HF and then 50 watts at 2 meters and 70 centimeters, and basically for HF or VHF and UHF, excuse me. That's what I'm talking about. There it is. That's the radio I'm setting up for. So if you want to help out, that'd be great. For the rest of you, just thanks for watching. Until next time, I'm Randall and Rueff. That's K9RMR or Kilo 9 Romeo Mike Romeo saying 73s. Good day, God bless, and I am clear.